good people, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my journey as being a prison mom. But first, I want you to be encouraged. Check out this short clip.
Mothers, listen to me. There are going to be some things that go on in your children's life that you are not invited to. And you get in God's way trying to be involved in everything that goes on in your child's life. Sometimes God has to deal with your child behind closed doors. Sometimes he's got to deal with your child without your input, and you can't be in the room. And I know your child is going through something right now, and I know you want to know why they act this way and why they think this way and why they do this and why they do that. God says, I got this. If you'll just trust me, you stay out of the operating room. I'm going to work on the child, and when I'm done with the child, they will be responsive.
Wasn't that encouraging? Listen, I know it's easier said than done, but we have got to learn to step out of our children's way, step out of our loved ones' way, and even out of our own way, and let God be God. Okay, so December 2016 quickly became a December to remember. December 10th, my son turned 18 years old. On December 21st, he was arrested for the first time in his life. That arrest led to a sentencing that July. So many things happened. So many things went through our head. His siblings were literally sick. His father and I had so many questions. Some of those questions were, is there anything we could have done differently or better? What did we do wrong? Why did this happen? Those were some of the questions. But we quickly learned how to shut down the lies of the enemy and turn to God for the truth of his word. So one of the things that I was recently reminded of, and I would like to remind you mothers too, if you raised your children the best you could, if you raised them to know God, then know that there is a seed of righteousness in your children. God tells us to train them up in the way that they should go. And when they get older, they won't depart from it. It didn't say that they won't make mistakes, because they definitely make mistakes. And they have to pay for those mistakes. My son is paying for his mistake today. Some of the things that were said to us in the beginning was crazy. Like, somebody said to me, you tried. I tried what? I raised my son. When my son was arrested, he had a job, a car, a moped, a bank account, a girlfriend. He made a choice. I raised him. He made a choice. Somebody said to me, he's in the white man's hands. Really? I didn't know that you knew the color of God's hands, because in my mind, all I could think of was that he was in God's hands. If I thought any other way, it probably would drive me crazy and I wouldn't be sitting before you today. Another thing that was said to us was, what did somebody say? Oh, somebody said to us that his mugshot looked sad. It's a mugshot, not a photo shoot. He looked arrested. Be careful what you listen to. What I personally did during that time was quarantine myself. Before quarantine was a thing, I quarantined myself because I had to. I had to be careful what I listened to. I had to learn early on to encourage myself, because this was my child, this was my situation, and I knew that it was nobody else's responsibility. This was between me and God, and this was between my son and God. So if I can encourage moms, if I can encourage anyone who is going through anything out, some of the things that I would say to you is, one, encourage yourself. Be careful what you listen to. Be careful what you allow your eyes to see. We used to love those shows, those crime shows, and all of that, but it gave you glimpses inside of the prison, and that can induce fear. So I didn't watch any of that stuff for a while. I'm able to watch it now because God has brought me out on the other side. But in the beginning, it was hard to watch those crime shows. There was a documentary out called 13th, which, by the way, is a very good documentary, but I wasn't really able to watch it. I've watched it since, and it's very good, and I recommend it. But y'all, God has a sense of humor. So let me backtrack a little bit. Like I said, he was arrested December 21st. So our church every year has a Christmas service. Nothing in me wanted to go to that service, but I went. And guess what the title of the sermon was? It had to happen. Some things just have to happen. I'm going to put that sermon along with the clip of the entire sermon that y'all saw earlier down in the description box below. I hope that you all can be encouraged. I also want to say you don't need to remind your loved ones of what they done. I've never once to this day reminded my son of what he's done, because guess what? When he wake up in the prison cell, that's a reminder enough. Prisoners need love too. They need mail. I heard this story a while ago from somebody, a friend of the family, and it was so sad to me. He did a few years in prison, and he got one letter, and he memorized that letter. So for me, I love to write anyway. So for me, I constantly wrote my son. He had to send home mail. Now they have tablets, so we correspond like that. But in the beginning, I wrote him so much. I sent him so many cards. I had people in my corner that sent him so many cards for every holiday, every birthday. If you can do that, just write to your loved ones. It doesn't take a lot of time. If they have a tablet and you can correspond with them like that, do that. Encourage them. They're in a situation where they need to be encouraged. They don't need to be kicked when they're down. Yes, they did a crime and they're doing the time, but they still need to be encouraged. Another thing that I did with my son, and I still do to this day, is I encourage him to read what we like to call brain food. He likes urban fiction and urban books, and that's fine. I allow him to read that. But I won't purchase that without us reading one book the same, and then we'll go over that book. And if you guys want, I can tell you what some of those books are that we share. If you let me know, I'll share some of those books in the comments, or I'll do a separate video on some of the books that we read together over the years. So that was something that I done on my journey. I also sent my son so many postcards and flashcards with scriptures on them, because there will be so many voices. He was surrounded by so many voices early on before his sentencing, and he used to say, "Mom, this person, they got this in court, and this happened and that happened." So I would send him so many scriptures to help him combat those voices in his head. You just have to encourage your loved ones. They know what they did. For my son personally, this was his first time. He was not a repeat offender, and I declare that he won't be a repeat offender. So I'm by his side. I'm sticking beside him, and I encourage mothers to stick beside your children. They need you. They need you. Prison is an awful place. It's not a rehabilitation institution. It's everything but that. So, I'm going to share with you guys how I felt during this time. So check out this piece. Until next time, be blessed. Argument lost. My pain. Lord, the world has torn my third gem. He was lost. I was looking for him. Lord, why do you continue to take and take from someone who has so little? I am he who gives and takes away. Now humble yourself. Continue to worship me and pray. But Lord, I feel like I'm being made to sacrifice my son. Well, you're in good company. You're not the only one. He didn't die in his sins and lose his soul. Instead, I died in his place and saved him by my grace. Your son unintentionally broke a law of the land and violated my commands. I thought the battle was fought and the victory was won. So he pays a societal debt. I am he who is going to refund him. So in the end, does he not win? How could this be a blessing in disguise? Cease from viewing with your natural eyes. Lord, I thought we all had friends. I am he who sticks closer than a brother. I never told you to put your hope and trust in others. I know all about how his older brother tried to take his place. It wouldn't have served my purposes. Now is Isaiah's time to seek my face, as this is his race. I thought you were going to give us beauty for ashes. I am the resurrected king. I am going to give you more than you can consume. Now you have plenty of time to make room. I thought you were true to your word and that all things work together for good. I cannot lie. I think you have me misunderstood. But God, my heart is heavy, broke, and my spirit is wounded. I am near to the brokenhearted. It is I that bind and heals their wounds. My daughter, with grief, I do not want you to be consumed. Lord, I feel so helpless. That's a lie. You are selfless. Now fight back with your gifts. That is where your power lies. It's going to be a part of the revelation, for this is a blessing in disguise. My dear, the seed I long ago placed in your hands is your meal ticket, not to be hidden on a shelf or neatly tucked under a bed. It was meant as a tool so your God-given seeds won't ever beg for bread. Fight your feelings. This isn't my wrath, nor is this a curse. Please believe me, things could always be worse. I'm walking through this fire with him. He won't get burned. Hard lessons will be learned, and from now on, as my sheep, he will listen to my voice and make the right choice. Lord, I can't protect my son for the first time in his life. I can't physically always be there. I am omnipresent. My angels will daily take charge over him. This won't only be on a whim. Lord, I don't understand how this is your will for our lives. Trust me, I am the Christ. You will understand better by and by. Take off the grave clothes and put on the full armor. I've given you a large part in this assignment, a prescription, if you will. Before it expires, it must be fulfilled. Lord, this just isn't fair. Life isn't fair. That's why it's always an open invitation to cast your cares. Lord, the careless words and deeds of others seem and feel so callous. It's a tactic of the enemy to poison your heart with malice. Lord, I have had so many sleepless nights. I've cried so many tears. I don't sleep or slumber. My eyes are on you through each day and night. I bottled the flood of tears that are cleansing your soul. Those tears are going to water your destiny and help you all to grow. Lord, I've always felt as if life was passing me by. Now my son has to miss so much. Daughter, you've accomplished much. That doesn't make any sense. It is I which will repay you both a twofold recompense. I don't know how I'm going to bounce back from such a harsh fall. You must surrender all. The instructions to your assignment are to grind, and like a diamond, I will make you shine. Lord, this is overwhelming. Why is this such a heavy cross to bear? No cross, no crown. On my word, just stand. All other ground is sinking sand. Stand with Isaiah like Mary stood with me, and I will see you both through to many victories. What about the guilt and stigma? There is no condemnation in me. Don't anguish about those who live by pretense. I will always be your reliable defense. Lord, I feel like I failed, but I tried. Daughter, reject that lie. I saw you training him in my ways. I heard you tell him time and time again that evil communication corrupts good manners. He failed to put me first as the Lord his banner. You gave me the words to what I penned last. Every promise I spoke will come to pass. I prayed adamantly for resources. I knew from the beginning what you could and could not afford. I was and will forever be your source. I am sovereign. I am Lord. Behind the scenes, I was and I am orchestrating things. For it is I that holds all the twos. This earth to me is but a mere footstool. Well, Lord, you've had the last say. Well, when you prayed, you said, Lord, have your way. The future is bright. Don't look at things as being so dim. Each day, you are a day closer to me and him. By the way, from my view, I saw Satan trying to sift Isaiah as wheat. So I prayed and had him torn from the streets. What is done for my name's sake. Move forward in my strength. This is the end of this debate.